So pretty much when you're cutting an oxtail, you want to have a sharp knife, and pretty much you just want to look for the joints. Sometimes you miss them, it's just part of it, but for the most part, you usually kind of know where they are. It's usually every 1 to 2 inch. For the most part, it's usually where they are, but sometimes the bone do move. That's just how it goes. But that's kind of how you would cut an oxtail with a knife. So just want to look for the joints. And once you locate the joints, as I told you before, it's very fatty. It's a ton of fat. As you can clearly see, it's a ton of fat. And it's not necessarily a lot of work, but like I said, sometimes you miss the joint, you overthink, and it happens. So, but pretty much just showing you guys a closer look of how you cut a whole beef oxtails. Just wait for the joints, and pretty much then you want to trim the fat off. And you're going to see how much fat you're going to end up with. So that's what I was mentioning. Don't buy them without them being trimmed, because you're not exactly getting a deal after you see how much fat is left when you finish trimming them. So as you clearly can see, I'm cutting off a ton of fat. You're just cutting off the excess fat that hangs off. And by doing so, you're going to have obviously a pretty looking oxtail. You don't want the oxtail to be too fatty, obviously. So just what I'm doing is paring it, trimming off the fat to make it more desirable. And anyone could do it. It's not really hard. Just by watching the video, you could kind of pick up on it just by doing it at fast speed and doing it a lot. That's when, and if you have to do like 4 or 5 cases, definitely your shoulder will start to hurt. When you finish, as you can see, that's the whole thing, and that's when we cut it into the oxtail that you guys love. So that's kind of the whole thing, and that's the individual oxtail cuts. As you can see, it looks a lot different. It looks more desirable when you see it cut already versus seeing it like this. And a lot of people see it whole, and all of a sudden they're like, it's actually a real cow tail. They don't want to eat it, because that's a very common question we get asked. Is it a real cow tail? I'm like, yeah, that's why it's the oxtail. So it's good for soup, stew. It's one of the most popular meat in the world at the moment, beef oxtail. So, and not too long ago, it was like discarded. A lot of people didn't sell it, didn't know what to do with it. And now, like I said, some places have it for $12.99, $10.99, $11.99. All depends on where you shop. The price is extremely high. And one final tip, this is why I was mentioning it's never good to buy oxtail before they trim it. No matter the deal they're giving you, because it's not a deal, because by the time you trim it, it's nothing but fat. You're going to pay for a ton of fat, and it's not a good deal, so I wouldn't really buy it. So stay away from that.